on, Chris, you got this.
I don't wanna.
There's only like 6 of them. That's not much.
Everybody already knows they're bad from the title.
Come on, Chris. It's your job.
Alright, fine. Alright. We'll cut this part out, and then we'll just... Hey everybody, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm taking a look at 6 pretty bad games. Hey everyone, welcome out to another bundle review. These are 6 very skippable card games. Some of these are things that I maybe almost enjoyed, but have a few problems that really hold them back like a lot. And other ones here I think are just absolutely just dreadful games. I'm going to end with the most dreadful because I have a lot to say about those. Starting off here, unfortunately, is Megalomania. This is a trick-taking game that I think could have been good. I think it could have been good. It has some unique ideas to it, where at the start of each round you're able to draft from a pool of cubes that let you adjust the numbers on your cards. Cool idea. These power crystals that let you activate powers on your cards that you otherwise can't use if you don't get the crystals. I like that. And scrolls, which make you uniquely powerful for a whole round. The problem is this game has a lot of production issues, to the point where I reached out to the company to make sure that this was a production copy of the game, because the cards are not good quality, there's not a lot of great, there's issues, and I'm going to show you one of them right here. The score pad, for example, doesn't fit in the slot of the insert for the score pad at all. So little things like that that make me wonder, is a better version of this game going to come out? Now, that is just, that you could say that is nitpicky to a degree. I disagree. But the biggest problem is the rules for this game, unfortunately. The rules are not tightened down yet. Some of those scroll cards are really cool. There's one in our in the second round of the game. Someone got a scroll card that said, for this whole round, they can always play the last card of a trick. That's a really neat idea, so that you can play the card exactly that you need to win the trick if you want it, and not one number higher. I thought that's really cool sounding. So we played out, he skipped his turn, and then at the very end, he said, cool, I'm going to play this one, the red 9, for example, and I win the trick. And then we all said, now what? He was supposed to lead the trick because he won it. So we're at an impasse just a few turns into the game. There's no explanation for that situation in the rulebook, which seems like it would be a very common situation. There's no threads on Board Game Geek. There's nothing that we could look up to figure that out exactly. Like I said, this game I'm giving a 5. I wish that it were better, and maybe there will be some improvements to it. Maybe I'll look out for something in the future. Unfortunately, Megalomania getting a 5. And that's kind of the best case out of all of these games here. 27 Meters is a game about playing cards out into the middle of the table and not wanting to take the stack above the number 27. There are classic card games that do that. It's a familiar idea. Unfortunately, this one doesn't implement it great. It really doesn't. There's cards of different numbers and stuff, but some of those cards don't let you draw up more cards at the end of your turn, so your hand of cards starts dwindling, and it's especially bad if you just happen to draw multiple of those cards that make it so that you can't have more cards to work with. So there's decisions like that make it not very fun. There's also cards that take the stack straight up to a certain number, like 25. And so now that no matter the cadence of the game is odd, because if you are trying not to get it up to 27, you'll play some low cards, maybe some high cards early, so that you can keep low cards later as it gets tighter. And someone just in the third card says, the stack's at 25 now. Okay, well, I can't play anything high, otherwise I'll take it over 27. And then there's certain cards that also make you flip over the top card and add that number virtually to the stack. But then you get to keep that card, so you might bust it, but you might get to keep the card. But if you do keep the card, then everybody has to remember, hey, the stack says 12, there's 12 total value in the middle, but virtually we added another 4 onto it, and someone else added another 3. So it's really at 19, even though there's only 12 value of cards in the middle. Those things that kind of hold this game back, also getting a 5. Next up, Ramba Zamba. I know this is a kid's game, but it's really lucky and it's really mean. You are trying to get 3 of a kind of animals in front of you, 3 worms, and you win the hand, or 3 chickens, or 3 foxes. Thing is, when you play an animal, it'll eat 2 of the type of animal right below it. So if you play a chicken in front of someone, it'll eat 2 of their worms. If you play a fox, it'll eat 2 of their chickens. And the thing is that you can play a card onto anybody, in front of anybody, and so you can just eat their farm animals, and you're trying to get 3 of a kind in front of you. It will inevitably happen, but it's not terribly strategic. It's kind of mean to play with kids, which is definitely the target audience for this one. And I didn't really like it. There's also haystack cards, which are super random. You just draw them, and then you can hide a worm so that it won't get eaten because it's hiding in the haystack. But you also might draw one of those cards, and it doesn't work with the animals that are in front of you. Game doesn't... I can't recommend it, really, so I'm giving this one a 4. Next up, Yo-Ho. You only hang once. Get it? I was desperately concerned that this was going to be awful, like Cards Against Humanity, clone, but worse. And what I was surprised is that there's actual art in this game, and this is not just you see this black box with the white lettering and stuff, and you think, okay, I know what it's going to be. Well, you don't. This is actually a very different game. The game that it is, though, is a letdown, unfortunately. This one has a lot of rules to it. It almost feels like it's kind of like a love letter / Lost Legacy type game, but it has too many of those rules. You play can proceed clockwise or counterclockwise depending on a turn order, and then if you're a loyal pirate or if you're a disloyal pirate, who has the treasure card hidden in front of them, or is it being passed around and stolen? And at the end of the round, you score up a certain number of points based on your roll, but if you have the treasure card buried somewhere, then you get extra points and you win the game in one hand. But if you don't, then you only get a certain number of points and you're playing to 5 points. But if you have the treasure card, you get 4 points plus whatever your roll number is. It's unfortunately just a bit convoluted, hard to remember the rules, and so it's not a smooth playing experience. I also give this one a 4, even though I feel like it should be a better game. I like the look of it once you open up the cards and kind of see what there is inside. Unfortunately not that fun. Now let's move to this is Drek, unfortunately. This is Top Dog. Top Dogs is from Ridley Games. I had not heard of them before, but the other Ridley games have not gotten great reviews on the Dice Tower before, and I can absolutely see why. This is a game in which you're playing what's called trick cards in order to win treats, but it's not a trick-taking game. It's a minor quibble, right? But it's a simultaneous reveal game in which you play dog cards and they're doing little tricks. But we call them dog cards, otherwise it gets confusing. There's a card in the middle that's worth points. You want to play the highest dog card, and if you do, out of everyone at the table, you win the point card in the middle. You flip over another point card. Everybody simultaneously reveals another dog card to win the point card. The problem is that there's only 4 values of dog cards. 5, 10, 12, and 15 for no reason. They could easily have been 1, 2, 3, and 4. And also, if you have a simultaneous reveal game like this, with only 4 values of cards, there's no point. Every round is a tie. Every single round is basically a tie. When there's a tie, nobody wins the card. You flip over another card, put it in the middle of the table. I assume the self-balancing part is supposed to be that if there's low cards in the middle of the table, not everybody's rushing for them. But if there's low cards in the table, everyone's just playing their lowest card, 5s for whatever reason. And then nobody wins it. And then a 20-point card comes out, the biggest one in the deck, and now everybody plays their highest card. If you had a 15, you win it. If multiple people tie, then nobody wins it. This is a pointless, directionless game. It is awful. If you are considering picking it up because you like dogs and the dog art is kind of cute on it or something, and it sounds like a fun little breezy family time, don't. It's pointless. It's a really pointless game. I give it a 3. But worse than that, Can You Dig It by Ridley Games. Ridley's Games, apostrophe S. This one is sold, it has the explanation of the guise of talk to your family, talk to your kids about growing vegetables and plants and stuff. Don't. Please don't. Point to a tree and teach your kids about plants. This game is a waste of the paper and the cardboard that was made to manufacture it. It is an awful game. Everybody's dealt a deck of cards. You have 3 face up in front of you, and you can play or the hand of 3 or something. You play a card out in the middle of the table. You can either start a new plant with a 0 or a 1. Why? Nobody knows. And then you can, or you can play a card on top of a stack. You can play 2 on top of a 1, or a 3 on top of a 2, or a 4 on top of a 3. You get it, right? Some of the cards in your deck are going to be vegetable cards, peppers and carrots and stuff. And when you play that on top of a plant, you then get to claim that, and you have a vegetable now in front of you, and you need to score sets of vegetables in order to win points at the end of the game. Super, super lucky. I mean, pointlessly no thought into what you're going to do because there's no mitigation, there's no thought. If you can play a card, and if you can't, don't. It's that bad. And on top of that, the idea of teaching kids about plants don't suddenly turn into a different type of vegetable once they've reached a level 3 plant. The theme doesn't make sense, and the fact that they're trying to market this as something that you can use to teach your family about, ecology in any way is an utter lie. Avoid this at all costs. It's a 2. I really, really hated my play of that. I'd rather eat a gigantic bowl of Brussels sprouts than play that card game again. And I hate Brussels sprouts. Print that on the box. That's it. Now, why do we do negative reviews? We do reviews like this to make sure that you don't buy a bad product. If you see something like this, if you like veggies or dogs or something, get better games. These ones don't deserve your money just because they have a cute theme. And so be careful with what you buy. Thanks for coming by, though. Another Dice Tower review. I hope that was helpful, informative, or something at least. Thank you for coming by. My name is Chris Yee. Have yourselves a great one.